Hi guys, so today I'm going to be showing you how I made this beautiful shirt dress with a collar and 180-degree flea. It is so detailed, beginner friendly and very easy to understand. So if you're interested, please keep watching, and if this is your first time on the channel, please click on the subscribe button and also don't forget to like and share this video. So yeah, I have my fabric on fold and I'll be cutting for the front and the back at the same time. So the length of the front is my half length plus 1 inch sewing allowance. So what I have here is 19 inch, but the back is 3 inch longer than the front because I want the shoulder of the back to overlap on the front like so. That is why I went ahead to make it 3 inch longer than that of the front. And also when folding your fabric, you'll be folding using the biggest part of your body, which is your bust. And I folded using my bust divided by 4 plus 5 inch. I'll be using 2.5 inch for my button allowance, and the other 2.5 inch will be used as the side seam allowance. And also for the back, I've gone ahead to fold my zipper allowance of 1.5 inch like so for the back of the dress I'm going to be making. So now we're going to go ahead to go into drafting proper. The first I'm going to go ahead to do now is to mark my button allowance on the center of the front like so. So I'm going to go ahead to place my tape like this, and I'll mark 2.5 inch all the way down. After marking it, I'll connect the point together with a straight line with my ruler like you see me doing in the video. Once I'm done doing this, the next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to arrange my fabric like so. Make sure that the back block of the dress you are making is starting from where the button allowance of the front is. So I'm going to go ahead to arrange it like so, and I'll drag it to the top, making sure that the top parts are aligning. Once I'm done doing that, I'm going to go ahead to pin it down with my pin to keep it in place. So after I was done securing it, this is what it is going to look like. And also don't forget to fold in your zipper allowance for the back block of the dress. The next thing I'm going to go ahead to do now is to draw the shoulder slope, and in doing that I'm going to be coming down by 1 inch from the side like so and mark. After marking it, I'll go ahead to connect that point to where my button allowance starts from using a straight line like you see me doing in the video. Once I'm done doing this, next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to cut out the shoulder slope. Once I'm done doing this, next I'm going to go ahead to do is to drag the front block downward like so, making sure that the waist of the front and the back are aligning. Then I'll go ahead to fold in this upper part like so, making sure that it's fold and it's overlap on the front by 0.5 inch. After doing that, I'm going to go ahead to keep it in place with my pins like you see me doing in the video. Once I'm done doing this, the next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to start inserting my measurement. And the first measurement I'm going to go ahead to insert is my shoulder measurement. So I'm going to go ahead to start from this point, and I'll mark my shoulder divided by 2 and mark like so. After marking the shoulder measurement, I'm going to go ahead to insert the armhole depth measurement, after which I'll go ahead to draw my armhole depth line with my ruler like you see me doing in the video. So once I'm done doing this, the next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to insert my bust circumference measurement. So I'm going to go ahead to insert my bust circumference measurement, and I'll be starting my measurement from this button allowance mark like so. So I'm going to go ahead to place my tape rule like this, and I'll mark my bust divided by 4 and mark. After marking it, I'll be adding the sewing allowance of 1.5 inch on the side. Once I'm done doing this, I'll move over to the waistline and I'll mark my waist divided by 4. After marking it, I'll be marking 1 inch for the waist dart and 1.5 inch for my sewing allowance. After doing this, I'm going to go ahead to connect the sides together with a straight line like you see me doing in the video. So once I'm done doing this is what it is going to look like. The next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to draw the armhole. So I'll be drawing the back armhole first. So I'll go ahead to place my ruler like so, and I'll draw the back armhole for the dress I'm making. Once I'm done doing this, I'll go ahead to draw the front armhole. So for the front armhole, the first thing I'll go ahead to do is to divide my armhole depth line into 2 like so. After dividing it into 2, I'm going to be going in by 0.5 inch. Once I'm done doing that, I'm going to go ahead to draw the front armhole curve with my ruler like so. The next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to move over to the neck. So for the neck, I'm going to go ahead to start inserting my measurement from this point. The first measurement I'm going to go ahead to insert is the neck depth, which is 3 inch. I'll go ahead to mark the 3 inch. After marking the 3 inch, I'll place my tape like so, starting from this point, and I'll mark a neck width of 3 inch. Once I'm done marking it, I'll go ahead to draw the neckline like you see me doing in the video. So this is what the neckline is going to look like. The next thing I'm going to go ahead to do now is to cut it out. So when cutting it out, you're going to go ahead to cut the back of the neckline first. So this part is a little bit tricky, so just watch what I'm doing and follow the same process. I'm going to go ahead to lift up this folded part. That is the part I folded from the back to the front. I'm going to go ahead to cut that part alone first for the back neckline. So I'm just going to go ahead to lift it up like so. Then I'll go ahead to cut it out with my scissors like you see me doing in the video. So take note that the part I'm cutting is just the part that is folded. Once I'm done cutting out that part, I'm going to go ahead to cut out the remaining part of the front neckline like so. This part I'm cutting now is only on the front block of the dress I'm making. So this is what the neckline is going to look like. The next thing I'm going to go ahead to do now is to cut out the armhole of the dress and also the side of the dress like you see me doing in the video. So after cutting out the back armhole, I'm going to go ahead to separate the front from the back. Then I'll go ahead to cut the armhole for the front like you see me doing in the video. So this is what you're going to be having once you're done cutting. So when folding my fabric, I folded for my lining and the fabric at the same time. So if you're not adding a lining to yours, go ahead to skip this part. The next thing I'm going to go ahead to do now is to attach my lining to the front and to the back block. And in doing that, I'll go ahead to close up the sides of the front and I'll be leaving the button allowance and the neckline open. Once I'm done doing this, I'm going to go ahead to do the same thing for the back. So for the back, I'm going to go ahead to close up the side and also the zipper allowance for the back. So after I was done closing up the side for the front, this is what the side is going to look like. The button allowance area is still open. And here I have the back. For the back, I went ahead to close up the sides and also the zipper allowance area. This is what it is going to look like. This will help give us a neat finishing on the inner part of the dress. The next thing I'm going to go ahead to do now is to come back to work on the front. And the first thing I'm going to go ahead to do for the front is to go ahead to sew my button allowance. And in doing that, the first thing I'll be doing is to fold it like so. I'll be folding 0.5 inch inward like this first. Once I'm done folding it, I'll fold it over again. So this is the point I mark out, that is the 2.5 inch I went in by for the button allowance. So first you go ahead to fold in 0.5 inch, then you fold it over again to meet that point you just mark, making sure that what you have at this point is 1 inch. Once you're done doing that, you're going to go ahead to stitch all the way down like so. And when stitching, make sure you stitch close to the edge. I'll be repeating the same thing for the other side also. So after I was done stitching the button allowance, this is what it is going to look like. Make sure to use a matching thread when you're sewing your button allowance and make sure your stitches are straight when you're sewing it. And this is what the other part is going to look like. So the next thing I'm going to go ahead to do now is to join the front and the back together. So I'm going to go ahead to place them, making sure the good face are facing each other. After doing that, I'll go ahead to close up the shoulder area. Once I'm done closing up the shoulder area, I'm going to go ahead to close up the zipper allowance also. So for the zipper allowance, I'm just going to go ahead to sew 4 inch downward like so. I'm going to go ahead to quickly do that now. Once I'm done doing that, I'll come back to show you what to do next. So after I was done joining the shoulders together, this is what the shoulder is going to look like. So this is what you should have once you're done joining your shoulders together. The next thing I'm going to go ahead to do now is to place the front block on the back block for you to see what it is going to look like. So as you can see, the shoulders of the back is overlapping towards the front. So this is what we're trying to achieve when we increase the back length by 3 inch. The next thing you're going to go ahead to do now is to confirm your measurement to make sure that what you have at this point is your actual half length measurement. So if it is more than your actual half length measurement, you can go ahead to trim off any excess you have. But what I have here is my actual half length measurement, so there will be no need for trimming. The next thing I'm going to go ahead to do now is to cut out my collar. But before cutting out the collar, I'll go ahead to measure my neck circumference on the dress. So you place your tape like this and measure all the way around like you see me doing in the video. So once I was done taking out the neck circumference measurement, what I got was 17.5 inch. I'm going to go ahead to cut out my collar using the 17.5 inch I measured on the neckline of the dress. So for the collar, I'm going to be using this gum stitch to cut out the collar so that I can easily attach it to my fabric once I'm done drafting it on the gum stitch. And I'm cutting this collar on fold. So the first thing I'm going to go ahead to do now is to draw a straight horizontal line with my ruler like you see me doing in the video. So once I was done drawing the straight horizontal line, the next thing I'm going to go ahead to do now is to insert the next circumference measurement divided by 2. So what I measured on my fabric was 17.5. I'm going to go ahead to divide that 17.5 by 2. I'm going to go ahead to insert it like so, after which I'll go ahead to draw a straight vertical line like you see me doing in the video. We'll be drafting the collar stand first, so I'm going to go ahead to go up by 1 inch like you see me doing in the video, after which I'll connect the points together like so. Once I'm done doing that, on this part I'll be going up by 0.5 inch. Then I'll go ahead to locate the midpoint of what I have at this point. So this part here is the midpoint. After locating the midpoint, I'll connect this point to that midpoint using my ruler like you see me doing in the video. So after connecting it, the next thing I'm going to go ahead to do now is to retake the 1 inch I'm using for the collar stand again. So I'm going to go ahead to start taking my measurement from this 0.5 inch I went up by like so. So I'm going to go ahead to take the 1 inch all the way down to the midpoint of the collar stand. After marking it, I'll go ahead to draw the new collar stand using my curved ruler like you see me doing in the video. So this line here is no longer relevant, and the one below also is no longer relevant. So this part here is going to be serving as the collar stand. The next thing we're going to go ahead to do now is to draft the main collar, and in doing that I'll go ahead to draw another straight horizontal line like you see me doing in the video. So remember, what I have at this point is half of the next circumference. I'm just going to go ahead now to insert the height of the collar I'm making. So the height of the collar I'm making is going to be 2.5 inch. I'll mark the 2.5 inch upward like so. After marking it, I'll go ahead to connect the 2 points together using a straight line like you see me doing in the video. Once I'm done doing that, the next thing I'm going to go ahead to do now is to go in by 1 inch from this part. So I'm going to go ahead to go in by 1 inch on this part. Then I'll go ahead to connect this point to this side using a slant line with my ruler like this. Then the next thing I'll go ahead to do is to go up by 0.5 inch on this folded part and mark. After marking it, I'll go ahead to connect it to this part using my ruler like you see me doing in the video. So remember, you're cutting the collar on fold. So when cutting yours, make sure you cut it on fold. So basically, this is what the collar stand and the collar is going to look like. So this part here is the collar, while this part here is going to be serving as the collar stand. The next thing I'm going to go ahead to do now is to cut it out. So after I was done cutting it out, this is what the collar is going to look like, and this is what the collar stand is going to look like. The next thing I'm going to go ahead to do now is to attach this collar and collar stand to my piece of fabric. So I'll be cutting out 2 pieces of fabric. I'll be attaching the gum stitch to one, while the other one will just be the fabric. So I went ahead to cut out my collar, and this is what it looks like. I went ahead to add 0.5 inch seam allowance all the way around, and I attached the gum stitch to one piece of the fabric while the other one does not have a gum stitch to it. So when cutting your collar, you're going to be cutting 2 pieces of the collar stand and 2 pieces of the main collar. The next thing I'm going to go ahead to do now is to stitch the collar together. So make sure that the good face of the collar are facing each other. Then you go ahead to close up this part like so. After closing it up, I'm going to go ahead to turn it over to the good face, give it a good press, and I'll come back to show you what it looks like. So after I was done stitching the collar, this is what it is going to look like. I also went ahead to give it a good press. The next thing I'm going to go ahead to do now is to attach the collar to the collar stand. But first, I'll go ahead to knot the collar to locate the midpoint of the collar. So you go ahead to fold it into 2 like so. Then you go ahead to knot the center of the collar. Once I'm done doing that, I'm going to go ahead to repeat the same thing on the collar stand also. So after I was done notching it, this is what it is going to look like. The next thing I'm going to go ahead to do now is to join the collar stand to the main collar itself, and in doing that I'm going to go ahead to place the collar in between the collar stand like so. So make sure that the parts with the gum stay are together while the parts without the gum stay are together. So I'll place the collar on the collar stand like so, making sure that the mid parts are aligning. Then I'll go ahead to place the second collar stand on it like so. So make sure that the collar is in between the collar stand. Once I'm done doing that, I'm going to go ahead to stitch from this part down to the side, and I'll go ahead to repeat the same thing on the other side also. So after stitching the collar to the collar stand, this is what it is going to look like. I went ahead to notch it and turned it over to the good face and gave it a good press, and this is what I have once I was done doing that. The next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to fold it over like so again to locate the midpoint of the collar, and I'll go ahead to notch the midpoint of the collar. Once I'm done doing that, I'm going to go ahead to start attaching it to the dress we are making. So you're going to be starting from the center back of the dress you're making. So you go ahead to start with the part without the collar stay. So you're going to go ahead to place it on the good face of your fabric like so, starting from the center back. Once you're done doing that, you're going to go ahead to stitch 0.5 inch all the way down to the front like so. After stitching this part, you go ahead to repeat the same thing on the other side also. So I'm going to go ahead to quickly do that, then I'll come back to show you the next step. So once I was done attaching the collar to the dress, this is what it is going to look like. The next we are going to go ahead to do now is to attach the other part, and in doing that, what you're going to go ahead to do is to push in your sewing allowance. Then you go ahead to fold in the other collar stand by 0.5 inch. After folding it in, you go ahead to stitch it on your dress like so. So I'm going to go ahead to quickly do that. Once I'm done doing that, I'll come back to show you what to do next. So once I was done stitching the collar to the dress, this is what it is going to look like. As you can see, it came out looking very nice and also very neat. So this is what your collar should look like once you're done attaching it to your dress. The next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to finish up the sides and also attach the sleeve to the dress. So I'm going ahead to cut out this basic short sleeve you see here. I'm going to go ahead to notch the mid part of the sleeve like you see me doing in the video. Once I'm done notching the mid part of the sleeve, I'm also going to go ahead to notch the shoulder area of the shirt like so. So you're going to go ahead to place it like so, making sure that the sides are aligning. Then you go ahead to notch the shoulder area of the shirt like you see me doing in the video. Once you're done notching the shoulder area of the dress, you're going to go ahead to open it up. Then you go ahead to stitch your sleeve on it, making sure the good face of your sleeve is facing the good face of the shirt. So before cutting out your sleeve, make sure you measure your armhole area so that the sleeve you'll be cutting will fit into the armhole area properly. After fixing the sleeve, I'm going to go ahead to close up the side of the shirt. Then I'll come back to show you what to do next. So I'm going to go ahead to cut out the flea for the dress you're making now, and I'll be using this brown paper to do the illustration. The first thing I'm going to go ahead to do now is to do a rough calculation on my paper before we go ahead to cut it out. So the flea I'm cutting out is 180-degree flea or a half flea, and a 360-degree flea is a full flea. When you divide this 360 by 2, you're going to be having 180 degrees. So that is how we come about this 180-degree flea or the half flea. So the first I'm going to go ahead to calculate now is the radius, and to calculate the radius for the flea you're cutting, you're going to go ahead to divide your waist by 3.14. So if you're cutting a radius for a full flea, you'll be dividing your waist by 6.28. When you divide that 6.28 by 2, you'll be having 3.14. So the waist I'm working with is 42 divided by 3.14 is 13.4. So the radius I'll be working with is going to be 13.4. The next thing you're going to go ahead to calculate now is the flea length, and to get the flea length, all you'll be doing is to minus your half length from your gown length. So the gown length I'm working with is 45 minus 18 inch, which is my half length. When you minus it, you're going to be having 27. So the next thing I like calculating when cutting my flea is the amount of fabric to fold to avoid wastage. And to do that, all you'll be doing is to add this 27 plus 13.4 plus 1 inch sewing allowance. Once I was done adding up this together, what I got was 14.4 inch. So when folding my fabric, I'll be folding using this 14.4 inch you see here. So now we're going to go ahead to illustrate this on the paper. So now I'm going to go ahead to illustrate how to cut this flea on this paper. So be assuming that this part is the width of the fabric and this part is the length of the fabric. So the first thing we're going to go ahead to do now is to measure this 41.4 we calculated on this part of the fabric. So you're going to go ahead to place your tape like so, and you go ahead to measure the 41.4 on this part like so and mark. After marking it, you're going to go ahead to fold it into two like so, making sure that you're folding on that part that you just marked like so. Once you're done folding it, the next you're going to go ahead to do now is to place your hand on the tip like so. Then you go ahead to fold it to be like a triangle. You're going to go ahead to fold it like so. So the folding is going to look like a triangle. Once you're done folding it like this, the next thing you're going to go ahead to do is to mark out your radius and the flea length you are making. So this is what it is going to look like when you're done folding. The next thing you're going to go ahead to do now is to place your tape at the tip like so. Then you go ahead to measure the 41.4. So I'll be assuming this part is my 41.4. I'm going to go ahead to measure it all the way around. After taking my measurements, I'll connect the points together like you see me doing in the video. So once you're done doing this, the next you're going to go ahead to do now is to measure your radius. So my radius is 13.4. So you place your tape at the tip like so and measure the 13.4 like you see me doing in the video. So after taking out that measurement, this is what you're going to be having. So make sure what you have in between this part is your flea length. So you're going to go ahead to take the measurement. Make sure what you have there is your flea length plus your 1 inch sewing allowance. Once you've confirmed that, you go ahead to cut out this part, and you also go ahead to cut out the lower part of the flea. So if your fabric is not enough, you can go ahead to join at the lower part of the flea. So this is what the half circle is going to look like. As you can see, we are having a half flea already. So the next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to repeat the same process on my fabric. I'll go ahead to attach my lining into it, then I'll attach it to the upper bodies of the dress which we've already cut out. After doing that, I'll come back to show you what it looks like. So guys, this is what the gown is going to look like once you're done making it. I also went ahead to create my buttonhole and I attached a button to the front of the dress, so don't forget to do that. So if this video was helpful to you and you're yet to subscribe, please click on the subscribe button, and also don't forget to like and share this video. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next tutorial.